So you know that story you keep telling yourself that makes so much sense, that you got all the evidence, all the justification, and you're still in the identity of that story because the emotions are so heavy there that you're staying connected. But guess what? That story doesn't serve your life anymore. That story is of the past. That story is of the old, and you're ready for the new. But you can't seem to get to the next phase of the new story because you keep running into the same pattern. And the reason being is because of the old story you keep telling yourself because you believe it because of the experiences you've had in it. And that's the evidence that keeps showing up. But you can change it. Today on Spiritual Fitness, I will teach you and talk to you about shifting and changing your story to create a new life, a new identity, and a new reality. I'm your host, Eric Bigger of the Spiritual Fitness Podcast. And today, I'm going to tap into storytelling and how the stories shape our lives that we tell ourselves. So think about your life right now. I got a few questions. What is your story around money? What is your story around success? What is your story around love? What's your story around your body? What's your story around fear? You're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you have a belief, which is a story, which becomes an experience that becomes your reality because you believe it. Some people believe making money is easy. They're making money out the wazoo. They're making money in their sleep because the story they tell themselves about money, like, money's easy to make. Some people think finding love and having love is easy. Some people think it's hard. Some people are not afraid of success. Some people are. The difference is the stories we have in our life come from where we were raised and how we grew up and how we've been programmed. So we have to create a new story and let go of the old story. So I want to share a story that I thought I resolved and got out of, and I thought I was in a new story. So the relationship with my mom in my life has been, a challenge at times. I had a mother wound, and in that space of that story, I feel like, oh, my mother didn't love me. She wasn't there. She didn't do this. She didn't do that, right? Boom, that was my story. And then every time I would find evidence to confirm that story what my mom didn't do. I never thought about the story, what did my mom do, right? That was great. However, I remember at one point, I think I was like 28 or 27, my mom said, okay, son, I hear you. But when you gonna change the story? I was like, damn, you're right. I keep believing the same story. She's like, I know it's in the past. I could have did this. I could have did that. I get it. She was right. So recently, maybe like 3 weeks ago, my mom name would come up. I love my mom. Mom's like my best friend. I tell her everything, right? Or whatever she wants to know. That's my mom. But when she's not with me, when old stories come up, I still got this energy in my body about my mom. And then when someone talks about that part of my journey, those emotions comes up. I'm like, so I thought I was kind of over it. Anyway, I wasn't. Those emotions were still in my body. That story was still present. And this was right before my mom was coming out here to Orange County to see me. When I got in front of her, I didn't feel anything. Didn't feel any negative emotions. I didn't feel awe. I felt like, it's my mom. She looks like me. I look like her. I love her. And I actually was talking to her about this thing I had, this challenge. And I shared it with my partner and my woman. And she said, the reason that story is still available in you is because the emotions are so heavy that part of your story and journey keeps you connected to her. And I was like, why? Because that's your mom. She said, but because you still have that story and you have that emotion, you can't move forward or go as far as you want within your relationship with us or in life because you're carrying that energy, which is that story, in your frequency. So something simple as the past that's been years, 15 plus years ago, that I'm still unconsciously, it's my unconscious body holding on to that story, those emotions, and it's getting in the way of my life. So once I cleared that, right, cleared that awareness and understand that this is a choice, I don't have to choose this, I can choose another story. I love my mom. Me and my mom, we talk about everything. I even told her, I was like, Mom, I got a book and I'm writing about that story in the book. But I love you. I was like, honestly, I don't want nothing in the way from family stop me from being successful and great. That's on me. I'm choosing that. And she said, no, I get it. So I say all that to say, what story are you choosing that you are so embodied in that's stopping you from growing? Some of you could be, you've been betrayed in life, so you don't believe that your next partner can help you, or your next partner is going to be healthy, or if they are, they got something up their sleeve, or you keep getting bad jobs. All this is a old story. So right now, the big question is, what story in your life that you're holding on to that carries heavy weight in your reality, your frequency, your body, your mind, that you cannot let go of? You keep attracting the same partners. You keep attracting the same relationships, the same opportunity, the same fears around money. It is a story. Change your story, change your life. All right, so answer that question. What story are you holding in your body, in your frequency, that's keep coming up that you know you want to get rid of, but somehow, some way you can? All right, answer that question. All right, let's get into the new story. The new story is, what do you want the story to be? Story with my mom? I want my mom and us to have a great relationship. Not that it has to be perfect, right? But I don't want no resistance in our energy when we talk. Right? That's my mom, right? I want it to be better. So that's the new story. So I have to co-create with my mom, choose new thoughts, choose new patterns, be more aware of what I'm calling in, what I'm choosing. And boom, now I feel better. I'm clear. I feel lighter. It's not in me no more. And it's crazy because when I had that conversation with her, I can feel something left us in that space. And now we're more into this new story, which feels great, right? It feels like, this feels good. So for you, what is the new story you want to create for your life, for your job, for your career, for your body, for your mind, for your finances? You can literally create a new story. Now, the reason this new story is not believable, because most times you don't have the evidence. In order to get the evidence, you got to continue to step into the space of the new story. And guess what? In that new story, you might have a little bit of resistance. It might be uncomfortable. I'll give you a better story. I've never jumped in the ocean. Never jumped in the ocean. In 2023, I jumped in the ocean in Cancun. I was so afraid. It probably took me about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to jump in the ocean. But the moment I jumped in the ocean and swim, I created a new story. Now, what will make the story better, because I probably would hesitate to jump in again, is if I did it every day. And the more I do it every day, that new story becomes the natural state. So just know when you're creating a new story, you don't have the evidence for it to be true right away, but you got to keep taking hits at it, keep taking steps at it, right? If I keep jumping in the ocean, it becomes my natural state. There's no resistance in that space and within me, right? Just know when you're creating this new story, it's going to be uncomfortable because it's uncharted territory. And it's not going to feel as safe, but you know it's for your highest good. You know leaving your old job or leaving the job you're in and go to the new job is really good for your life, even if the money's not there in the other job the way you want. But the energy's there. You have more space in your life, more space in your consciousness. You're not around the same people. When I moved to Orange County, it didn't feel as familiar or normal because it's new. But it's probably the best decision I made in my life. You get what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? I really want you to understand this. If you look at life, anybody who has won big in life is because of the story they've told themselves about themselves over and over and over. And the people you look up to, the people you love, is because those people have told a great story about who they are and what they are, and that's why you love them. That's why you buy their music or listen to their music. That's why you go watch their movies. That's why you go buy the clothes of these brands, right? That's why you might follow some of these folks, because of the story they tell themselves that you believe in, inspire you to be like them or be admired to them. Because of a story. We're living in a story, which is our movie. So also, in your new story that you want to create a great story, you're going to need support. You're going to need people in your life that's going to reassure you that, hey, you can jump in that ocean again. I'm here. I got your back. You can leave your job. I'm going to help you find a better job. Listen, I know this relationship you've been in 10 years is heavy and it's hard, but you know it's better to leave this relationship. And guess what? When you leave it, it's going to feel heavy. It's going to feel overwhelming. It's going to be emotional. But guess what? Over time, those emotions and heaviness is going to die off and you're going to feel better because your soul knows you don't belong there no more. So when you're choosing a new story, get around people who have the story you want. Get a proximity. Read their books. Follow them. Or maybe it's a family member or friend. Ask them questions. You need support in your new story, right? That's it. Get rid of the old story. Let's get into the new story. And we know why we stay in the old story. So don't judge yourself for going back or relapsing. This is why self-sabotage comes in with most people when success is coming, because they don't trust the new story of success that's coming. So they relapse and go into the old story because it's safe, it's familiar, even if it's bad. That's why people relapse on eating bad food again or gaining more weight or smoking or alcohol or going back to their ex. because it's a pattern of the old that's safe and familiar with the frequency within their body and nervous system, so they stay there. So don't judge yourself, have compassion. But I need you to get into the new story of your life, because there's a new timeline, there's new opportunity with infinite possibilities, there's greatness, greater awareness, more money, more availability, more higher consciousness, more soul fulfilling work and life and livelihood, and you're more spiritually fit and rich. That's what it's about. But you gotta move into the new story. So right now, what story do you want to create for your life? Don't get into the logical mind. I don't know how that's gonna happen. If you put it out there and you say it and you consciously think of it and move into it, even you do step by step, eventually it will happen. I always said I wanted a podcast. I always said I wanted to write books. Guess what? It took me 2 years to write my book, Spiritual Fitness. By the way, get the pre-order. Got it right here. Get the pre-order. August 8th, it comes out. Order it now. It took me 2 years to write this, but I wanted to write a new story. I wanted to write and here it is. I didn't know it was going to look like this 2 years ago, but here we are. Spiritual fitness, baby. So now it's part of my new story, my new reality. So I'm giving you the evidence of what I've lived and embodied to tell you it's okay that the old story is still conquering you, but we can move into a new story that can relieve you of the old story. And most times people don't get into the new story because they don't have evidence, like I said before. That's why you got to look for mentors, look for people, you read books, or you listen to podcasts like this, or go to YouTube's. So create a new story, live a new story, be the new story. And over time, you'll be where you need to be. But that's all. That's it for this episode. Subscribe to the YouTube, download this episode, share it, tell a friend to tell a friend, work with me one-on-one, but please get the book, Spiritual Fitness, out August 8th. Follow me on Instagram, and let's create new stories for our reality so we can live a better life. We're here to create. There's the thing I want to leave you with. So the ego is comparison and competition. The soul, when you're spiritually fit, is collaboration and creation. I want you to create a new story and collaborate with those who want to be a part of that new story. I don't want you to compete, right? I don't want you to compare, right? That's the ego that eases God out. Get into creation and collaboration. New story. Let's get it. I see you guys soon. Be great. Peace.